Good evening. I am Rabbi Yossi Hodakov. My wife and I direct Chabad of Westville in New Haven. It's a very special day. It isn't often that so much positive energy can be found in one room. Every one of us here represents a common effort to do good, help others, and make our communities better places. As we are here to honor the Rebbe and highlight the impact of his legacy in our state, it is my honor to welcome and acknowledge the presence of each community represented here today. So when the name of your Chabad Center or Rabbi is announced, please rise to be acknowledged. Otherwise, please remain seated. And we'll begin with the 3 regional Chabad centers in our state. First, I'd like to welcome the rabbis, staff, dignitaries, and guests who are here with the Stamford group to please rise. Under the directorship of Rabbi Stamford, our regional center for Southern and Western New England employs a talented group of staff, including Rabbi and Mrs. David Hordener, Rabbi and Mrs. Chezi Deren, Rabbi and Mrs. Zalman Shmutkin, and Rabbi and Mrs. Moshe Shem Tov. The first Chabad Center in Connecticut was actually a Jewish day school. Sent to the New Haven area by the previous Chabad Rebbe, the school was founded by the late Rabbi Moshe Yitzchak Hecht of blessed memory some 65 years ago. Today, under the directorship of Rabbi and Mrs. Shia Hecht, the Southern Connecticut Hebrew Academy continues to thrive and serves as a base for communal activities. The school, located in the town of Orange, employs a dedicated staff, including Rabbi and Mrs. Einan Francis, Rabbi and Mrs. Adam Haston, and Rabbi and Mrs. Mendy Hecht. I'd like to ask whoever is here from Chabad of Orange and Woodbridge and Southern Connecticut Hebrew Academy delegation to please rise. In 1977, with the blessings of the Rebbe, Chabad of Greater Hartford was established. Based in West Hartford, the Chabad House offers a full range of services to the local community. I'll ask Rabbi and Mrs. Joseph Guppin, Rabbi and Mrs. Shaya Guppin, and their guests to please rise. We'll now continue through the local centers throughout our state in alphabetical order. Established in 2007, Chabad of Fairfield. Rabbi and Mrs. Shleim Landau and the guests, please rise. Chabad of Glastonbury, serving the communities east of the river, was established in 2001. The never-tiring and ever-charming Rabbi and Mrs. Yosef Lvovsky and their guests, please rise. Chabad of Greenwich was established in 1996. Rabbi and Mrs. Yossi Deren and their guests, please rise. Chabad of Guilford, serving the communities on the shoreline, was established in 1999. Rabbi and Mrs. Yossi Yaffe and guests, please rise. Chabad of Hamden was established in 1994. Rabbi and Mrs. Menachem Pekarski and guests, please rise. Chabad of Litchfield, serving the northwest corner, was established in 1996. Rabbi and Mrs. Joseph Eisenbach and their guests, please rise. And they're in traffic, they should remain seated safely. Chabad of Milford was established in 2007. Rabbi and Mrs. Schneer Willem and guests, please rise. Chabad of New Canaan, our newest community center, was established in 2010. Rabbi and Mrs. Levi Mendelo and guests, please rise. Chabad of New London, serving Eastern Connecticut, was established in 1994. Sternberg and guests, please rise. Chabad of Richfield was established in 2004. Rabbi and Mrs. Shalom Deitch and guests, please rise. Chabad of Simsbury, serving the Farmington Valley, was established in 1998. Rabbi and Mrs. Mendel Samuels and guests, please rise. Chabad of Wallingford was established in 2005. Rabbi and Mrs. Baruch Kaplan and guests, please rise. Chabad of Westport was established in 1998. Rabbi and Mrs. Yehuda Cantor and guests, please rise. Please rise for the governor. Please rise for the governor of our state. A place very dear to my own heart. Chabad of Westville was established in 2005. Myself and whoever is here from Chabad of Westville, please. Throughout the state of Connecticut, Chabad is also active on campuses of many schools. To date, we maintain full-time student centers at 4 universities. Rabbi and Mrs. Shlomo Hecht direct the Chabad Student Center at the University of Connecticut in Stores. I ask them and their guests to please rise. Rabbi and Mrs. Yossi Hodakov direct the Chabad Student Center at the University of Hartford. I'd like to ask them and their guests to please rise. Rabbi and Mrs. Levi Shechtman direct our newest Chabad Student Center at Wesleyan University. Please rise with your guests. Rabbi and Mrs. Shua Rosenstein direct the Chabad Student Center at Yale University. Please rise with your guests. Finally, we welcome the rabbis and students at the Chabad Yeshiva in New Haven. The word Rebbe means teacher. How fortunate these students are to be dedicated to full-time study of Torah. May we, in our own lives, be able to follow their lead and increase our own Jewish learning. The rabbis and students, the delegation of students representing the Yeshiva in New Haven, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see here this evening is a representation of the Rebbe's ongoing impact. The state of Connecticut is truly blessed. Please put the entire state of Connecticut.